Senator Cory Booker on the hook for over $800,000 with APAC. Now he says that's just a little amount because it's a lifetime amount, but I believe, to me, $800,000 is a lot of money. That's, about what most people make in their whole working career. Me, certainly, as a $50,000 a year employee. But here he's on you might have seen some shorts of this. They took it kind of out of context, but he's on the iHit podcast. And, these two women, I'm not going to lie, most of the podcast is kind of boring. They're hucking books and all this other stuff. They're selling a lot of stuff on the podcast. But these women, especially, I can't remember, on the left, I think her name is Jennifer. She really goes after some of the politicians that take, a lot of money from big corporations and APAC and stuff like that. So, the shorts I saw on it were a little out of context. Cory Booker kind of defends his position with APAC, but anyway, I wanted to show you guys the longer version of it, and I'll just comment as we go, but let's get started on the video.
Well, we want to talk to you about, the country, and it feels like the Democratic opposition is just not getting it. There are votes that you've made that were heartbreaking to me, like the vote for Kushner. That really pissed me off because I feel like this administration, it's not, are they fascist? They are fascist. It's not, we're on the precipice of fascism. We have Pritzker, Texas is sending troops to Illinois. And I feel like the opposition needs to be fuck no across the board. We're not giving you a centimeter. And I think there's been a lot of capitulation. I think there's been a lot of Neville Chamberlain type appeasement from Democratic leadership. And you're one of them that's kind of been disappointing to me because we podcasted before.
For you youngins out there, Neville Chamberlain was the first prime minister of England, I think, during World War II, who kept saying, oh, Hitler's not that bad. Hitler's gonna, he's not gonna, he'll take Poland and that's it, and then he'll stop. And we all know what happened after that. But so there's a lot of people out there, you see him all the time, like, oh, Trump's not that bad. He doesn't mean what he's gonna say. He's not really gonna try and take over Canada with force, blah, blah, blah. But, we'll see what happens.
Serious about Project 2025. They're going to do all this shit. And they're doing every single bit of it. So what do you think? What do you have to say about the capitulation that you've participated in and where the Democratic Party is right now?
Well, first of all, I would say very pointedly that one of the things I dislike about the Democratic Party is that we do a circular firing squad all the time. Their party, they disagree. There's wild disagreements in the Republican tent. And yet they don't shoot at each other. And we have a really good way of holding up these purity tests that if I agree with you on 95...
That's such bullshit. That is such bullshit. They fire at each other all the time. Trump has sent so many people out to pasture, so many people that he calls rhinos. Liz Cheney can tell you that they have the firing squad as well. It's not a purity test. It's are we in this fight? And are we being beholden to corporations and corporate interests, or were we really the party of the working class? And that's what I think the message.
Two things I'll say. First of all, if everybody in your coalition agrees with you on everything, your coalition's not big enough. If
it's a cult.
If we don't have disagreements, then we're talking in an echo chamber. Thank God I sit in a caucus with people. I couldn't win in some of my colleague states, perhaps. But we have lots of different agreements, but we are united in the fight against Trump. And I'll say number two, which is really important, is that, we feel the existential urgency. And even though we don't agree on everything, I'm in the trenches with some of the best fighters I have. I have disagreements with a lot of people. Look, I'm one of a handful of people that don't take corporate PAC money. I don't understand my Democratic
What
Party.
about APAC money? You take APAC money, don't you?
A minuscule percentage of my resources come from
I read it's like 800,000.
Yeah, but that's a lifetime number. This to me is about, again, we could pick at each other or we could do what we need to be doing right now.
That still doesn't explain why he's taken almost $1 million from APAC. And what has he had to do for that $1 million is what I want to know. 800,000? 800 plus thousand. How many of you guys in my audience get $800,000 in donations from work or anywhere?
a child of civil rights activists. You think Malcolm X and Martin Luther King agreed on everything? No. Do you think Fred Shuttle? In fact, Ella Baker had lots of criticisms about King. But when it came to the fight, they joined together and created a movement that was successful. And that's really what my focus is. And it's the only, hold on, when I go up and down in New Jersey, they don't care about the fact that I took 1% of my money from some group.
But how many times did you vote to send billions of dollars to APAC? I bet you the people in your neighborhood would care about that, because that's their tax money going to help the Zionist government of Israel commit genocide on the Palestinian people for nothing that helps Americans, that's for sure.
Well, I think the base feels like right now, and I know that you're in the Beltway, but I think the Democratic base feels like there is a disconnect. Like, we hear you, like when you did your 25-hour speech, I was like, go, Cory, I love this. That is amazing. And then there's a photo shoot with you with Benjamin Netanyahu. And I was just like, what in the actual fuck? Like, how can he do that? It was heartbreaking. I felt betrayed.
Yeah.
And that is, and that, hang on, and that doesn't just happen in an echo chamber. It's important when there are Democrats like you, where the base, we should make each other better. We need to evolve. And I love that you come on here. We need to have these conversations. It's not a purity test. We want credible messengers, because when we are down the middle and beholden to corporate interests, then we leave this vacuum, and that's how fascism has flourished. And so for myself and a lot of our listeners, when I saw the picture with Benjamin Netanyahu, I felt like it diminished your 25 hours. That's how it felt to me.
And
do you think he's a war criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu? Do you think he's a war criminal?
I again, these are questions that a lot of people think are the important litmus tests that are loaded and hot.
He's not going to answer that question because he doesn't want to get on Netanyahu's bad side. He wants to keep that green cheese flowing, that $800,000.
I think the thing that Democrats get so frustrated with, where we are right now, where you see like the Zoran Mamdanis and the Graham Plattners rise up, because they can go on podcasts and you can say, do you think Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal? And they just say, yes. And that's the end of it. It's not all of the rhetoric answering. It's like what happens to Democratic politicians, they go through this like prism, and then we can't ever get like the answer to yes or no conversations like you do with Bernie and others. And that's the frustration for the Democratic base with leadership.
Do I think Netanyahu is worse than Trump? Yes.
And the same with Israel. I mean, our weapons, and even Democratic politicians signed them before they were sent over to kill kids. I really feel like if we get through this fascism, we have to have conversations like this, Senator. I think
but you're right. Where you're right is the Democratic.
Okay, Cory Booker. So what is your plan? What are you doing? You're talking a lot about the problems we have, but I don't hear your solutions. I hear Bernie Sanders' solutions all the time. Let's hear your solutions. Where's your bill to tax billionaires? Where's your bill to get rid of Citizens United and get rid of, the corruption in where is your bill to get rid of the corruption in campaign donations, super PACs? Where are these bills, Cory Booker?
We have to be leaders on this issue with Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu. It's something that there is a big, loud beat in the base that's permeating all across the country. When you have people in Oklahoma that have never been political before start to talk about it. And here's what I'm scared about. And I've been talking to other politicians that have come on the pod about this. You have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is an anti-Semite. She is a real Jew hater to the core. And she is starting to message now. MAGA is not America first, where they've been Israel first. And for rural people and suburban people, when they hear that messaging, it allows a grifter and an opportunist like Marjorie Taylor Greene, for people that don't follow the 24-hour news cycle, to say, yeah, why do they have free healthcare and we don't? Why are we sending them all of these bombs and they're killing kids and we don't? I think in order for us to come together as a party in 2026, it's going to take leadership saying, things like Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal. We have to stop funding the war. And we've evolved on the issue. And I think it's okay. I think we're all at a place right now where we can accept that we have the leaders that we have. And I agree with you that we agree on 98 out of 100 things. And if we agreed 100 out of 100, we'd be in a cult.
Okay, guys, what do you think about Cory Booker? Do you think he owes APAC or Israel favors for that $800,000? I mean, he makes it sound like a small amount of money. To me, that's not a small amount of money? Is it to you? I don't know. Comment below. Thanks for watching again, guys. Go and subscribe, like, comment, and share these videos. See you next time.